God.
Fireballs flashing in the skies. This one over Portland, Maine last year is most likely space junk. And there's actually a lot of that out there.
You see this one right here? Well, that's about to become the next space junk headed to Earth. It's nothing you really need to worry about, but it's a space station roughly the size of a house. It will likely come crashing down sometime in the next few days. And Tampa Bay is as likely a spot as any. 10 News reporter Eric Glasser shows you why no one is really certain where or precisely when this out-of-control Chinese satellite will come falling back to Earth.
Obviously, it could land anywhere.
When it comes to space junk, Jose Catayo is the resident space junkie at Tampa's Museum of Science and Industry. So who better to ask whether we need to be worried about the Chinese Tiangong-1 space station and what will happen when the 8-ton satellite, as big as a house, likely plummets back to Earth this weekend.
We're not going to see like an Armageddon type situation where you have like this giant clump that just disperses into smaller clumps and it targets cities and it crushes buildings and you have that bell tower that tips over.
Still, it's no April Fool's joke that Tiangong-1, which translates to heavenly space, is out of control and will likely fall back to Earth around April 1st between latitudes 43 north and south.
Which actually comprises not just a lot of the US, but a lot of the other major cities in the world.
The space station, visible now in this radar image, will likely break into little pieces and start burning up in the atmosphere.
And depending on the time of day or night, when it happens, it's going to look really spectacular, like giant fireballs coming down.
Some have wondered why we don't pull an Armageddon and just blow Tiangong to pieces before it falls to Earth. Hard to hit, says Catayo, and even if you did,
it could pose a threat to other orbiting satellites and perhaps even the International Space Station.
No pun intended, but the odds of you getting struck by Tiangong are seriously astronomical. About 1 in 300 trillion. When a much bigger, heavier satellite, Skylab, fell back to Earth, some parts survived the 1979 re-entry. Even then, no one was hurt.
So, do we have something to be worried about? Realistically, I would say probably not.
In fact, there are a million more likely ways to die, but it's human nature for us to sort of worry about this sort of stuff. If it did happen, at least you would have the consolation of knowing that you were the first person ever killed by space junk. In Tampa, Eric Glasser, 10 News.
Well, there's that.
There is that. Of course, right? And here's something you might not have known. Falling space junk is fairly common. On average, one satellite re-enters the atmosphere every day. And about once a year, an object weighing as much as 5 tons falls back to Earth. According to aerospace.org, this lady right here, Miss Lottie Williams of Tulsa, is the only person known to be hit by a piece of space debris. She's holding the debris there. It happened in 1997. She was walking when the debris hit her shoulder. Tests show it was part of a Delta II rocket that launched in 1996. Wow. Can you imagine meeting Miss Williams and she's like, come on in, let me tell you a little story about what happened to me.
I mean, that's quite a story.
That is a good story. Yeah, she's got it. But they'll be watching it. And what did he say, like 36 hours, give or take, of when this could happen? So
yeah,
it's still
a big window. So, I mean, if you're that worried about it, I guess you can go to Canada. You'll be safe up there. But it seems like the odds are in your favor, though, at this point.